How do I sound? Already unplugged.
Nah, your mic ain't picking up.
Every time. I don't know why.
Yeah,
Hold on.
all good.
All right, how about now?
There we go. There he is.
There I am.
It was good, Blood. How you doing? How's your week been so far?
Pretty good. Uneventful wrestling news wise. Unfortunately, no new episodes of the Blood Drop. But as far as goes, excited. I officially start writing the last chapter of my book tonight. For the first draft. First draft will be complete. Then I start the full second draft tomorrow. And then hopefully can have the full second draft done in under a month before I send it off for editing and proofing and everything else. And then so we're off to the races. For those you don't know, I'm currently working on getting a book published. So other than that, nothing really of note that I can think of this week. Honestly, it's been a very my Sam Apoku reaction video to Sam Apoku's song "Old" is now officially my highest grossing or highest viewed video on TikTok and Instagram, passing 1.7 million views on Instagram and TikTok. So that's now officially my highest viewed because I did have a 1.7 on Instagram. It's now beaten that as well. Unfortunately, that video got demonetized because it said it was low quality, even though it was projected to make over $700. Other than that, besides being robbed of $700, pretty good.
Always keeping busy there, huh, Blood?
Always keeping busy. Hooligan Ting said, I just gave your address to some spiders. Yeah, well, I just gave my foot an address to your ass.
Who said that? What? I don't get
I
it.
don't know. Some guy named Hooligans.
Um, I I hear my echo in the background. I don't know. Can we fix that somehow?
I don't know how you're hearing an echo.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's picking up. Maybe I gotta turn myself down or something.
Do you hear that every week?
It it comes and goes.
Let me try
It's not.
this.
It's not on. It's not. I can't hear it anymore. I don't know what you did, but
I usually hate doing the headphones because they hurt my ears after a while, but
I
what
think
do you
that's
call
gonna
that?
fix the problem.
Oh God, the problem is
Mic
that your
check.
voice is coming through. Mic check.
Yeah, yeah. It's not as
Yeah.
bad anymore, but
It's still happening? How is that even
I
possible?
don't know, dude. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. We'll figure it out. Um,
Hate these damn things. All right.
sorry, dude. It's for the fuck. I can still hear it. Whatever. All
Yeah,
right.
that's what I'm saying. I might as well just keep them out then.
Keep them
Muy
out.
grandes orejas.
Keep them out then. Keep them out.
What did I say that right? Muy grandes orejas.
Yeah. And now your mic is off.
How's my mic off?
I don't know. It is not. It's not
How is it
picking up.
off? No
I,
no bullshit. Bullshit.
it's not.
My pretty girl, Papa.
I think that there you go.
Is it
Much
back?
better.
All right.
What's
Ugh.
going on, everybody? Welcome back to another one-on-one with Edgar and Blood Thursday live on TikTok, where we go over wrestling stuff, wrestling news, wrestling topics. And this week, believe it or not, most of the topics we're going to be covering today is AEW related. That's right.
Oh yay. My
Miss,
absolute favorite.
Mr. Blood loves to talk about AEW.
Yeah. It's so great.
Yeah,
So great.
there's a lot of stuff that happened in AEW this week that's worth mentioning that I want to get Blood's opinion on, as well as we're gonna get into a little bit of the John Cena farewell tour since his dates are coming to an end, and a fun topic at the end if we have some time involving Vicky Guerrero, which I think
Okay.
would be a nice trip down memory lane. I know how much you love to do those, Blood.
I do. God, getting old is fun. Speaking of which, for the people that are in the live on my side and Snugs, if you could make sure to slam that like button, spam the crap out of it for like 10 to 15 seconds, and then make sure to share this so we can get more people into this conversation because we go about an hour every Thursday on this stuff. So please, again, spam the like button, share it so we can get as many people in here as possible so we can all enjoy some wrestling topics together. Yeah? Thank you, guys. Thank you so much, Maxwell.
So, Mr. Bludd, you mentioned earlier that the news in wrestling hasn't really been that crazy. Maybe not for you, maybe not crazy enough to do a blood drop episode. However, I was watching AEW Dynamite last night like I usually do on Wednesdays.
I'm sorry.
And good old Kenny Omega was cutting a promo when the lights went out all of a sudden. And you know, in wrestling, when the lights go out, it usually means someone is going to show up.
Usually the Undertaker.
Except this time, Andrade El Idolo showed up in AEW back again. And this is the only guy that has been. He was in the WWE. Then he went to AEW. And then he went back to the WWE. And now he's back in AEW once again for I think this is the very first time he's actually done, or someone has actually done something like that. Return, which I thought was pretty fucking insane. I sent you the clip right away.
Yeah, like pick an ex-girlfriend. Jesus.
But
you know,
the crazy thing about this, Bludd, is no 90-day no compete clause for this. Because Andrade was pretty much terminated.
Not pretty much. He was fired.
So I think
for
that
failing
pretty much
a wellness policy
multiple times.
Now he had failed not multiple. So he had failed the first time in his first tenure, and then he was in trouble. Then this time he failed it and he was fired for it. The first time I believe he had faced a suspension. This time he was straight up fired for failing the wellness policy. So in both tenures, in as much as 4.5 years, he's failed the wellness policy twice. Well, and it's like, dude, get your shit together.
According to a report that came out today, WWE released Andrade due to numerous WWE wellness violations over the last year.
Wow. Okay. So when the initial report came out, they were just talking about this one. The only reason that would get released today, I'm imagining, is because of his debut last night. So they're really trying to be like, hey, just so you know, you guys can be happy that he's back over at the other company, but we let him go because he's just irresponsible and, you know, doesn't have his life together and he's making horrible decisions even though he's under contract. So you guys can be, you know, happy about him all you want, but just so you know, he's a loose cannon who's going to fuck up again, is basically what they're trying to do.
Yeah. And it looks like this time AEW is going to try to book him a little bit better than before. Also to kind of be like, oh, you know, let's show these WWE people how we can put our stars over. Because Andrade wasn't really used in WWE a whole lot, right?
He wasn't all that used that too much in AEW the first time either. I mean, woohoo, AEW, we got Andrade back. Take that, WWE. Yeah, you can have the guy who keeps failing the wellness policy, gets into arguments and fights with people on purpose. Didn't he leave? Try to get out of his contract with you the first time because of his bullshit with Sammy Guevara, and you guys told him not to interact with Sammy Guevara and to avoid him. And the second he saw him, he hit him in the face trying to get fired because he wanted to go back to WWE the moment he found out Triple H was in charge. So, oh, good for you, AEW. Let's all clap and pretend like this is a huge win for you. Fantastic. You have basically what everybody was trying to say CM Punk was. Good for you.
Yeah, that's why it was so surprising to me that he showed up back in AEW so quickly. I thought for sure AEW and Tony Khan was going to be like, you know what, we've already been through this, and you know, we don't want to go through that again. Like,
yeah, what happens in 6 months when they don't book him for a straight month because they already have too many people on their roster, and then all of a sudden he starts up bullshit again? What happens in 4 months where he has a problem and he maybe wants to violate their wellness policy or whatever their protocols are? And it's like, dude, the fact that we find out the WWE not only had extremely important plans that they had to throw out and give to the Street Profits that were a tag team championship opportunity for not only himself, but for Rey Fenix. So he screwed Rey Fenix out of a potential championship win and a showcasing in a championship match because he was irresponsible. And that was selfish of Andrade. But you find out that they also had major plans for him in AAA as well. And that got flushed down the toilet. It's like, dude, I don't care what anybody says. it's bad enough that you're messing with your own career and public perception of the WWE because of how you're acting. It's worse when you ruin it for other people, like Ray Phoenix, who didn't do anything wrong but show up to work. And because of you, his first official like title bout he would have had in the company, you ruined for him. You straight up ruined it for him. You took his opportunity away on a PLE for tag team championship gold in a match with the Wyatt Six. And because of you, he now will have to wait God knows how long until they get around to being able to book him for it.
Yeah, dude. And then I was kind of excited to see Andrade show up, right, on AEW last night. And then he attacks Kenny Omega. I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe some of that negotiation was like, okay, well, I'll go back to AEW, Tony, but you have to book me with your major stars. Kenny Omega, for example. Perfect. But then I saw that he was added to this faction called the Don Callis family, which is like literally like 8 or 9 dudes at this point.
Fantastic. He'll be lost in the shuffle in 2 weeks.
And that's what I'm afraid of right there.
And he's going to blow up again about his booking.
But, you know, the only positive thing that I can see about this is, okay, Andrade might have a match with Kenny Omega. That's not a bad look. And also Don Callis can speak for Andrade because that's one of the reasons that the reports were saying that WWE were getting buyer's remorse from Andrade was because his English wasn't improving. That was one of the reasons, right? But yeah, man, this is like, I think this is it. This is probably Andrade's like final opportunity to really get over with those AEW fans.
It's his last opportunity to get over with any regular big mainstream North American wrestling promotion. And here's the thing about the whole like, and I will give him some credit. The thing about him not, getting better at learning English is bullshit in my opinion, because I listened to Stephanie Vicaire try and cut promos. I listened to the Kabuki Warriors do their shtick right now in their story. I find it hard to believe that it's just because his English wasn't getting better. So in his defense, I will say that I think that's a little bullshit on WWE's part. But I will 100% say that this guy is a self-sabotager to the upteenth. When he's not happy, when he's feeling like he's not getting what he's entitled to, he starts to look for ways to run away. That's what it looks like to me. And I think it's kind of funny that AEW, whom, as far as they're concerned, they've gone through so much bullshit in the last 3 years between the stuff with like Britt Baker and CM Punk and the Elite and all this crap. And it's like, if you guys are trying to move forward as a company and get rid of all these troubled times and this horrible public perception you guys seem to have of your backstage environment, you'd think you would want to avoid making hires that have a history of causing problems in a backstage environment. So you hire this guy several weeks after he's fired for his antics in WWE's backstage environment. I mean, I don't understand. Like, I know that Tony has a chip on his shoulder the size of Texas, but the problem is, to be someone who runs a company, you need to be level-headed and think intelligently and think about not trying to put a fox in your hen house on purpose. And I'm not saying that Andrade is some sneaky, underhanded fox. I'm saying he's basically someone who just does whatever the fuck he wants when he feels like he's not appreciated. He's a very self-entitled person, it feels like. And what it's been looking like for years. Extremely entitled, puts a lot of stock into himself, seems to take himself a little too seriously. And when he feels like other people aren't taking him seriously, when they aren't giving him his due, he has a history at this point of what seems like lashing out and finding ways to get himself in trouble or fired so he can find a better opportunity elsewhere. Where the problem is, buddy, North America, AAA owned by WWE, TNA in a partnership with WWE. Okay. AEW, they're right there. They're in a partnership with like 2 other promotions as well. There's not a lot of mainstream North American wrestling companies you can just jump ship to and just act like you can put on a different shirt and like it's going to be okay. You're building a bad reputation for yourself. And eventually, the only place you're going to be able to wrestle is outside of North America if you keep this shit up. So I think the AEW hiring him back is a last chance, last straw thing. I genuinely believe it. Because at this point, I don't ever see WWE taking him back. I really don't.
No, at this point, it's like, for what? You know, like, I mean, I like Andrade, but
Great wrestler.
yeah, but I wasn't super thrilled to see his matches in the WWE, and that's no fault of his. You know, a lot of that has to do with the booking too. You
A
know,
lot of it has to do with the book. I mean, the last time any of us really gave a shit or were excited about any of his matches was when he was in the Best of 7 series with Carmelo Hayes, and that was a year ago. That was the last time anybody actually gave a fuck, and he was scheduled and featured regularly. And I know, look, pardon me, WWE drops the ball with their booking a lot. They focus on a handful of stars from each show and make every story revolve around those stars mixed into the mid-card stories that they mix into main event. And a lot of people get lost in the shuffle. And it really does feel like sometimes the mid-card and sometimes the tag divisions are extremely separate from everything else going on, to where sometimes it feels like the tag stuff is happening on a completely different show, even though it's not. But with that being said, it means that it feels like a lot of these mid and undercard guys are also on a different show. It feels like they're not a part of any of the important stuff going on. I mean, all of the tag matches, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, keep happening on free TV. All the tag matches are happening on SmackDown. I can't remember the last time I saw an actual tag team championship men's match on a pay-per-view. I do know that, like, SummerSlam, we saw Charlotte and Alexa Bliss go for the tag titles, I believe, right? They had a tag match at SummerSlam. That's the last time I remember seeing a tag match on a PLE with SummerSlam, and it was the women's. But they had the men's literally on the Friday night SmackDown prior, and then like 2 weeks before that, the Judgment Day defended again.
no,
And it's
didn't
like,
they have Roman and Jay at SummerSlam teaming up?
not for the tag titles.
Oh, no.
So it's just like, I understand where, like, you're going to get frustrated. You feel like you're not being booked to the best of their capabilities when we've seen them book incredible stories. So it's not like Triple H and Nick Khan and all those guys and Bruce Pritchard aren't capable of writing interesting and compelling stories. We've seen them do it so much, but it feels like they're only willing to utilize that brain power for the bigger stories that are their box office marquee matches, and everybody else just starts to feel like they get what they get. And I can understand where you're going to get frustrated. But look, there are people who have been there waiting for their due, waiting for their moment in the sun, waiting for their time to shine way longer than you, Andrade. Otis, Akira Tozawa, Maxine Dupree, half the women's fucking roster, all of the LWO, all of Legado del Fantasma. Like, there are people who legit have been there the entire time that barely get anything, but you don't see them self-destructing and quitting and, you know, hitting people backstage and violating the wellness policy and trying to get fired and jumping ship. No, they're waiting on their time. So it's like, dude, Andrade, like, you're a great wrestler, but like, dude, grow a fucking pair and just wait your turn, wait for your opportunity or make an opportunity for yourself. Like, it's not hard to go out there and just maximize your minutes every chance you get. Have a social media presence, brother. Build your fucking brand. Get people to fall in love with you online. Like, and then they'll fall in love with you in the arena. It's not hard to get creative. You can't just be like, well, they never give me anything, so I'm sick of it here. No, bro. You can't just wait on people to hand you opportunity. Sometimes you have to make an opportunity for yourself.
I wonder what the fuck he did to violate that fucking wellness policy, because if it was multiple times...
Well, I know it's not MJ. MJ, you know what I'm saying? Because they apparently no longer test for that as a part of a violation of the wellness policy. So it had to be something more serious.
Yeah. I mean...
Because, 2 years ago, they already said they were no longer giving infractions for the Mary J. So as far as it's concerned, it couldn't have been that.
Yeah,
it had to be something much more serious. Unless we're talking, I mean, maybe PEDs, maybe I don't want to over speculate, but I know it wasn't greenery, my friend.
Yeah. And we're never going to find out, because unless Andrade...
We'll never find out, and he's never going to admit that.
Well, actually, the last time this happened was with Matt Riddle, and he flat out came out and said, well, I was on, you know, the I don't know how I can call it on here, the sugar booger,
Mm.
the but that's
Snow.
yeah. So but that's Matt Riddle. He's not wrestling for like a big fucking promotion like AEW. So I don't
For
think
those of
I'd.
you who don't know who are just joining the chat, by the way, like Jeremy Thurby, who asks who are we talking about, we're currently talking about Andrade's exit from WWE and subsequent re-debut on AEW last night on Dynamite.
Yeah, and also according to Yahoo Sports, this situation talking about the wellness policy also suggests a shift in how WWE handles wellness policy violations, no longer publicly announcing main roster suspensions.
No, they aren't. They announced that a couple weeks ago that it
Yeah.
was going to start being close to the vest because they also so it's because TKO apparently doesn't want it publicly known whom fails them, whom they suspend because it makes their brand look bad. Because TKO also owns UFC, so they're treating both companies this in the same vein of like it makes it look like if one guy's taking it, makes it look like all of our people take it, which makes it look like none of our people are legitimate. And we can't have that. So if you out someone to the public for, hey, so-and-so, like Roman Reigns back in the day, they put it into a storyline and embarrassed him, made it public. Like you tell the world about that, and that's your top guy. Well, then everybody looks bad. So you got to keep it closed now. You can't tell nobody because if it gets out, all of a sudden you don't look legitimate, especially since guess what? They just entered into a deal with guess who? ESPN, the people that are not going to sugarcoat their shit. So they're not about to start publicly announcing people's wellness policy failures. That is for sure.
Shout out to the real Brian Clark is in the house. Thanks for the likes, dude. I would love to invite you on here and speak to you one of these days, Mr. Clark. Please follow us back, and so you can join us on one of these lives one of these days. Would really love to have you on, dude.
Or we'd love to interview you on the podcast as well. So please hit us up. But Jeremy Thurby asked, could this have been a way to just part ways with Andrade? This was not a way for them to part ways with Andrade. Andrade did it to himself. Andrade has failed multiple wellness policies. The one that subsequently ended in his firing just a few weeks ago was because he had tested positively for some kind of substance, violated the wellness policy, and he was escorted from the building according to all the reports. And when they tried to reach him to bring him back, a couple weeks had gone by, he was quote unquote unreachable according to the reports. They apparently weren't just gonna, they were gonna give him I guess they were gonna give him a chance. He was apparently supposed to be factored into tag team title stuff with Ray Phoenix's tag partner versing the Wyatt Six, and there was apparently huge plans for him in AAA as well, but he was unreachable for a handful of weeks, and WWE was just like, you know what, screw this. So, and that's on him. That's on him. How are you unreachable? You are a contracted employee with the largest wrestling promotion in the world. If they fucking call you, homie, answer.
Yeah.
They had plans for you because you didn't just screw yourself. Before we move on, you didn't just screw yourself. You selfishly screwed Ray Phoenix out of an opportunity to your own tag partner who did nothing wrong, but you did. And because of what you did, he lost an opportunity that he'd earned. He'd worked for.
Yeah, I think that's fair because when you're in a tag team, it's you guys are a package deal now. If one gets injured, for example, then the other one suffers too, And in this case, it was, a wellness policy, which if it's true what the WWE is telling the dirt sheets basically is like, hey, he failed the wellness policy multiple times. To me, if that's true, to me, it means that he failed it once. Andrade got called out for it. He didn't care, and he kept doing it again, and again.
Here's the reason I believe it's true. Defamation law. You can't just flat out say something like that against someone's character publicly without the ability to say, hey, I can back it up in court. So, because otherwise it would be defamation of character, which is against the law. 2, at the end of the day, I seriously doubt, because he's not a big enough star, WWE's not going to go out of their way to put him down for no reason. So, they're not going to be bitter about it. It only makes them look worse if they go after him because they're the multi-billion-dollar world conglomerate. To sit there and just peddle lies about a guy would make them look worse by comparison and make it look like they were punching down on an independent professional wrestler. They're not going to do that. I believe it because he's done it twice that we already know are official, actual real times as it is. He gets tired, he gets fed up, he gets entitled, and we know that he looks for ways to get fired because he's not happy and he thinks the grass is greener on the other side. Well, if you were looking to be a big major breakout star there, Andrade, I don't see how that's going to work for you in AEW because the moment your ass touched Dynamite ring, you were in a faction with like almost two handfuls of guys. Giggity, pause, resume. And now you're just another one of the people in that group.
The Spider, thank you for your question. I'm going to read your question. We got to take a little commercial break here, but we'll read it when we come back. I just have to do that for the audio. All right, we're back, everyone. Be sure to, follow our pages at Snug Wrestling. Keep on double tapping the screen. What do we got coming up here in the next few days? They're doing SmackDown tomorrow and predictions next week, right, Bludd?
Predictions are going to be October 8th at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific for Crown Jewel in Perth, Australia, which we are so excited for because our asses are going to be up before and at the crack of ass dawn because the way they're scheduling it over in Perth, it'll be 4 a.m. Snug's time on the West Coast to watch the show, and it'll be about 7 o'clock or so on the East Coast, where I live in Florida. Woohoo! And as someone like me who doesn't work a real job because I'm a full-time creator, I haven't seen 7 a.m. on a clock in about a year. So, oh boy, this is going to be fun. This show better be fucking worth it if I'm getting up this goddamn early.
Yeah. Well, we're going to stay on these topics. We got a couple more topics here, AEW related. But first,
yes.
I promised the Spider I was going to read his comment. And this is pretty interesting because this is the first I'm hearing about this. So maybe you can help me out with this, Mr. Bludd and Spider, if you can add more information on the comments. He says, curious on your opinions on the outbreak over Stephanie Vacquer's new tattoo. There was an outbreak over Stephanie Vacquer's new tattoo?
I haven't heard a thing about that, an outbreak.
Yeah, I saw the tattoo.
Hold on. Well, first off, where's the tattoo?
It's in the back of her neck.
Oh, okay. Well, damn.
And it's like, from what I remember, it was just like a regular tattoo, kind of like demonic, kind of like dark and edgy.
La Primera.
Yeah. So Stephanie, the Spider says, Stephanie got a new tattoo after winning her world title, and people thought it was demonic. Yeah. See. Yeah. It's because it was. Yeah.
Oh, when I'm hearing outbreak, I'm thinking like sick, like it got infected.
No, what? like outbreak from the fans. I think is what he meant. Like, so the negative.
Oh, they're saying it's devil worship. Hey guys, I got news for you. Pay attention to the problems in your own life. Let the girl get whatever the fuck she wants tattooed on her skin. How about that? Like devil worship. I got news for you guys. Not everybody. Here's the thing.
She's in the Illuminati, bro.
Here's the thing. I don't give a fuck if you're a Christian or a Catholic or a Lutheran or a Protestant or a Mormon or a this or a that. I'm a Buddhist personally. My point is, not everyone believes in the devil. Okay. Not everybody believes that hell exists. And if you do, good for you. Don't get your fucking panties in a twist because somebody else's life and their artwork on their body offends your little sensibilities. Because not everybody's a Catholic or a Christian or a Lutheran or any kind of mainstream, Anglo-Saxon, whatever, that believes and follows in Jesus Christ and the word of the Bible. Some people have their own views on world religion and their own things, and they just like stuff that looks cool, and they get it tattooed.
Yeah.
Get over yourselves.
Some people also have lives, and I mean, for me personally, I saw the tattoo. And, it was on a fucking, it was posted on a wrestling news site. And they were like, Stephanie Vacquer reveals her new tattoo. And I'm like, why is that even news? Like, why the fuck do we care? Like,
hey, yeah,
so and fucking look, what?
And Rhea Ripley got her toenails painted. Who fucking cares? Like, dude, Who
That's
gives a
not
shit?
news. Yeah.
That's not news.
Yeah.
And I'm sad that the news is so slow that that's a story that you ran and printed. Because
Yeah.
for me, it's like, dude.
And then on top of that, the people getting upset about it. Oh, I can't believe she would get that tatted on her, bro. What the? Come on, dog.
I
What are we
can't believe
doing?
you care what someone else has inked up on their body.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, let me ask you this. Her tattoo bothers you. Okay. I have X23 tattooed right here, who in the comics who has unalived about as many people as you can count on 15 hands. So does that mean I like Jeffrey Dahmer all of a sudden? No, it means I thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Get
Don
over it.
Numero, Sean on the comments brings up a good point. It's basically the horn she wears to the ring, probably a dedication to her in-ring character.
Exactly. La
Boom.
Primera. So
Yeah.
it's like, look, I mean, I love how they weren't bitching about the horns before, but now that she's got a tattoo that like symbolizes probably her most important piece of her gear and marking her first ever world title win ever. And by the way, the WWE Women's World Titles are the biggest world titles of any promotion on the planet because it's WWE's championships. It's a big fucking deal for her only a year after debuting in the company. Let her celebrate the way she wants to celebrate. She's fucking earned it.
And if people are really that pissed off about it, WWE should make a shirt out of it, and I'll buy it.
I would too. Put it in their face. Put it all over their face. I mean, you know what? I really wish she had gotten it tattooed on her fucking ass cheek. That way they'd have no problem but to look at it every time she does the devil's kiss. I don't see people getting mad when she does the devil's kiss. It's demonic. No, I see people staring with drool coming down their fucking face because it's just a bunch of simps and guys who don't have anything better to do but get mad moms with fucking kids who go to church 3 times a fucking year and act like they're holier than thou. Get over yourselves.
There you have it, Spider. I hope that answers your question. That's how we feel about that. Very good question. Thank you for that.
To sum up how we feel about that question, people, grow a set.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, let's go back on our regular scheduled program. We got a couple more AEW topics I want to go over. So, Mr. Bludd, you won't believe what happened last night on AEW Dynamite. So, I was watching Dynamite on HBO Max because I have
bastard
HBO Max. And it was a commercial break, and not once, not twice, but a few times during these commercial breaks, the same fucking commercial played during Dynamite during the break, and it was a advertising ICE, basically a commercial to recruit more people, to encourage more people to join the ICE agency or become an ICE agent, offering all these great benefits and a $50,000 sign-on bonus, and come be a part of the cause and come help us get rid of the criminals and the abusers and the the worst of the worst, and join us. And at first I was like, okay, whatever, but then they kept playing it over and over again. And then at the end of the show, even Hangman got he heard about this and he was like, fuck F ICE, let them know. And he tagged HBO Max on Twitter. And I just thought that was fucking crazy. That's the first time I've seen a commercial like this play ever on TV. And during a wrestling show, I thought it was pretty fucking crazy.
Was it attached to the wrestling program itself? Or was it like an ad just in between spot, like in the ad commercial?
In the ad commercial, it wasn't during picture in picture. If that's what you're asking.
So it wasn't AEW running it.
No, I'm pretty sure it had to do with HBO Max.
Okay, I'm just making sure because wow. Here's the thing, yeah, guys, if you like 50,000 sign-on bonuses, if you like pew pews, awesome. If you also like being one of the most hated groups of people in the world right now, specifically in the United States and big cities, by all means. If you want all your neighbors who aren't freaking, on that side of the fence, let's say, and don't, bleed red, I got news for you. You're going to be one of the most despised human beings in the country. and I would avoid it. And I think that it's bad taste that HBO Max picked probably one of their biggest ratings draw, programs, and aired it in the middle of that and was like, yeah, that's right. We're going to use AEW's time slot, which we know brings in millions of viewers, or at least a million, and has tons of rewatchers and everything else, and we're going to air it right here. Because that's not gonna piss people off. And I couldn't have put it better myself here. Dirty Red says, wrestling is a way for us to get away from everyday life. Why that gotta be on there? Couldn't have said it better myself. You know what you could have done on HBO Max? So you're trying to show me some shit? Plug Gen V. Plug the next season of The Boys. Anything else you could have put in here. There was no need for that to be here. And I find it funny that they would they're treating ICE like I remember Army and military and Marine recruiters being back when you and I were kids.
Yeah.
You guys like Chargers? You like hot women? You like shooting pew-pews? You like all this money and benefits for the rest of your life? You like adventure? Well, let me tell you, join the United States Marine Corps. Like, that's what it used to be. You remember those recruitment ads when we were kids?
Yeah.
Like, trying to throw sports cars in your face and fast, easy women and shit in all the commercials. It's so tasteless. And it's so fucking 15 years ago. Like, that tells you where we are right now as a country, that they're like, hey, you want to be a respected member of your community? Yeah, I do. So I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing and not be you, because nobody respects you that has two fucking brain cells to rub together. So as far as it's concerned, fuck MAGA, fuck ICE, fuck Trump, and y'all can sit on it and spin.
The crazy thing about all that, I knew it wasn't AEW running these ads, because AEW is for the most part really, really woke,
they're very liberal.
Yeah.
Extremely liberal.
Brody King has worn Abolish ICE shirts like on AEW programming multiple times. They're really big on the LGBTQ community and all that stuff. So I'm like, yeah, there's
also a lot of people there's a lot of people in modern Northern professional wrestling, by the way, that are foreigners on visas, work visas, that work for these companies on work visas.
Yeah.
And are people who are from Mexico, who are from Canada, who are from France and
Japan.
Ireland and Scotland and Japan and China. We just talked about Stephanie Vaquer, Croatia. Like, are you kidding me?
Stephanie Vaquer, she's from Puerto Rico.
I could have swore she was Croatian.
No, bro, she speaks Spanish, bro.
Croatians speak Spanish as well.
No, they don't. They speak Croatian.
Which is a form of Spanish. When you go to Puerto Rico, you don't say I speak Spanish, you say I speak Puerto Rican.
No, bro, they don't.
Or you say I speak Colombian.
She's from
or
Chile.
Venezuela. Oh, Chile. She's Chilean, sorry. Or you speak Colombian or Venezuelan. You don't just go I speak Spanish, you speak Venezuelan.
They say it's Spanish, bro.
Homie, all Spanish is not the same.
But it's still called Spanish.
Except when you go to Colombia, you go, oh, do you speak Spanish? Sure.
Yes.
But if you go to Ecuador, you don't speak Spanish, you speak Ecuadorian.
No. It's Spanish.
Yes, you do.
Bro. Oh my God. All right. Is there someone on the chat who's from Argentina or some Central American country can tell Mr. Bludd that he's wrong?
Not all Spanish is the same, because Spanish is for Spaniards. Spain.
All right, Bludd. You know what? Let's talk about wrestling. All right. Anyway,
social studies. But it's in poor fucking taste, and I think and you know what? I don't care much for AEW, but I do respect Hangman for going out there and just saying it, because at the end of the day, it's poor taste. There are a lot of girls and guys in the back that, shout out to BT Knight. Hi, Mr. Bludd. Hey, buddy. There are a lot of people in both companies that literally aren't even American citizens that work in America on visas. So to be on a show and have it thrown in the commercial in your face that, hey, we're telling everybody in your audience everybody at home watching on TV, if you want to help us get rid of people who don't belong here, whether they deserve it or not, like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
at one point earlier this year, there was a whole thing about talking about getting rid of work visas. There was a whole thing about, like, it's been an entire attack on foreigners for a year now, or almost a year now.
Yeah.
So it's poor taste. So I give Hangman total props for standing up for those people and like being like, this is like, fuck ICE. Because I agree, fuck ICE. ICE, by the way, whom has for this last year been detaining people who have actual citizenship, who have ID, and have been holding them for weeks until they let them out, even though they had proof. There was that story about the guy who was a veteran, who was an American U.S. veteran, who got detained by ICE because he was Spanish. They held him for a week and a half before they let him go, and he was a U.S. citizen. They did it to kids too. So fuck ICE.
Yeah, you said that like
Adam
10 times
Page.
already. All right.
And I'll say it 100 more.
No, it's all right. But look, I think part of the reason was I don't know if it's because like that's their target audience. Like the wrestling audience, usually like the demo is between like what? 18
conservative. 18 to 49 is the demographic. And look, most wrestling fans from even way back in the day, like even back when it started in like the 1860s and 70s, when it was carny shit, when it was still shoot, it was mostly conservatively enjoyed by what people considered to be less intelligent. And I'm not saying conservatives are less intelligent. This is what the market was. It was always marketed to hillbillies or southern states. That's why a lot of the territories were in the Carolinas and Alabama and Tennessee and in Florida and in Texas, because they're all conservative places where it's good old fashioned wrestling. That's where that comes from, wrestling, because you had a southern accent. You couldn't say wrestling. You said, I like to watch wrestling. And they market that to people like that. And TNT is a conservative network. So
not
it's
only
like
that too, but like when I was watching these commercials, like I got curious. Like I looked up at the website, just to see like, and it's not that easy. I mean, it's not that hard to get hired. In
that's the problem.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a fucking problem.
So like, if you're like, say you're like in your mid 20s and you have no direction of like, you don't know what the fuck you're gonna do with your life, and you see this commercial, oh shit, it's so easy for me to do this.
That's who they're aiming for.
Yes. That's fucking scary.
They're aiming for the people who are fresh out of high school, who didn't get a scholarship, who don't have the money in this economy to afford school, who don't want student loan debt, who are thinking, how can I have life on easy mode? $50,000 signing bonus. I'll have benefits for the rest of my life. I'll probably never see action. If I do, I get to hold pew-pews. And I'll get discounts on everything for the rest of my like. That's who this is marketed towards. People with no ambition.
And I get to feel like hot shit. Like
It's marketed to people with no ambition. That's who it's for. Because, like I said earlier, that was the whole reason that when you and I were in high school, it was huge. The like I would be watching Nickelodeon and here comes a join the United States Marine Corps ad and they're showing Chargers and sexy bikini model women and telling you all the great cool things you can experience. And it's like, dude, this isn't really, it's not Call of Duty, but they know who they're aiming for. The kids who think of it like Call of Duty, the people who think of it as, oh, it's an easy thing for me to do that I could figure out for a couple years. And if I get discharged in 2-3 years, I still have benefits for life. That's who it's for. The people with no ambition, who are lazy, who just need something to do and want to feel like, well, I can say that my job's important even though I don't care. Because I have friends who did join the Marines, who did join the Army and the Air Force when I was in school, in the Navy. And one of my friends, Ben, literally told me the reason he wanted to join was because he thought Call of Duty was cool. And I said, it's not like a game. He goes, I don't care. I love Call of Duty. That's why I signed up. And I'm not bullshitting. There's a lot of people like that. And this is who they're aiming it for. And it's fucking pathetic on both sides.
All right. Well, let's move on to our next topic. But first, we got to take a little quick commercial break once again, and we will be right back. All right, and we're back, you guys. Be sure to double tap. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media accounts at Snug Wrestling. And I'm here with Mr. Bludd on our weekly one-on-one on TikTok Live. We're going over some AEW stuff, and I got one more, and this was a fun one. This is not as fucking hard hitting as the last one, you know. I know you're a big comic book guy, right, Mr. Bludd? You love your superheroes and movies.
I
And
don't know. Do I?
yeah, you do. But are you a big DC guy? I know you're a big Marvel guy, but what about DC?
I am a massive DC guy, actually. Yep,
All
massive.
right.
I'm massive for both. I have a bigger love for Marvel, but I love DC almost just as much.
All right, so perfect. Let me get your thoughts on this. So, AEW and DC Comics, both under the Warner Bros. Discovery umbrella, have an ongoing collab that includes comic books, promotional materials, and cross platform marketing. And it looks like they're coming out with the comic book collab, excuse me, the year of 2025 through 2026. AEW and DC announced a new two-issue comic book crossover event set to release in 2026, which will be preceded by an exclusive preview at the 2025 New York Comic Con.
Oh shit! That's next week.
Yeah, so there's going to be AEW wrestlers and the Justice League team up to recover the Big Galactic Belt, a prevent a cosmic catastrophe. Featured talent will have AEW stars such as your favorite Mercedes Moné,
Oh fuck me.
Will Ospreay, John Moxley, Swerve Strickland, and Kenny Omega. They will join DC characters like Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Harley Quinn. Thoughts on that, Bludd?
Pretty fucking cool, man. I mean, I'm not the biggest AEW fan. I gave up on AEW years ago, and shout out to that one foo in the comments. Bludd has that Captain Puerto Rico shield. That's Captain America's master replica shield, sir. Chris Evans, sir. And over there is a $1,200 master replica Chris Evans in-game Captain America suit, sir. Get it right, get it tight. I digress. I'm a comic book fan. And I am staring at a wall of comic books behind this camera, by the way. But as far as it's concerned, look, if WWE can have its own wrestling crossover with Scooby-Doo and Supernatural, or I think it was actually, no, it was a couple of wrestling crossovers with Scooby-Doo. I think it's awesome because as far as I'm concerned, it's like the coolest thing about about wrestling in general, it's always had mainstream appeal. It's always had crossover appeal. I mean, you know, look at all the movies in the 80s and the 90s, like Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper and Undertaker. Hell, even Triple H was in Blade Trinity. Like, as far as I'm concerned, I think it's cool. I'm here for it. It combines my two biggest passions in the world, wrestling and comic books. I think it's awesome. It's a 2-issue series that's not going to be much at all. You'll probably get maybe 35, 45 pages, but it's fucking cool. The shield itself, how much for it? It ain't for sale, homie, but it was several $100s. But as far as it goes, I think it's awesome for AEW. And it makes sense that it's a DC crossover because DC and Warner Brothers is in conjunction with HBO. And that's where AEW is from. So there's no way they were going to do a Marvel crossover. Because Marvel is Disney. Disney is also the owner of ESPN, which is in conjunction in an agreement and deal with WWE. So they really had no choice but to do DC. But it's cool, man. Like, I'm here for it. It's awesome. It kind of makes me wish Punk was with AEW, like, still in a sense, because Punk is written for Marvel Comics and he's written for DC Comics, as has AJ Lee. And it would be really cool to get to see CM Punk crossover in a comic book with Batman. Like, that'd be dope. So we'll never get to see it, at least like this, but I'm happy for him. I'm here for it. I think that's really fucking cool shit.
Yeah. And it's cool because, like, someone like me who's not really big into DC or comics or that world right there, I am big on wrestling. So it makes me want to go out and check it out too, you know? I mean, I might get it.
Yeah, and I think it's great for little kids too, right? Like the ages like 6 to like 13, like 13-year-old seniors, they really love comic books. Everybody loves comics now, but when I was a kid, you remember when we were kids, you were a nerd, you were bullied, you were picked on for being a comic book fan, being a comic book nerd. You were picked on for being a wrestling fan. There was a time where like kids wouldn't even wear their wrestling shirts to school because they were afraid they get bullied for liking WWE. Oh, you like that fake shit? Da da da. Oh, you like comic books? You like superheroes and tights? That kid shit. And I think that that's something WWE or wrestling in general and comics have always had in common. The fact that through their time in pop culture, they were marred and criticized heavily for what they were, their art forms, but over time have gradually become more and more accepted, respected, and beloved by a worldwide audience. And I think putting them together is like peanut butter and jelly, brother. It just works. But I think that, like, I'm imagining like that 7 or 8-year-old kid, man, who loves AEW or who loves wrestling, but they also love Superman. The new Superman just came out. And they love Batman. And they love Wonder Woman. And they can pick up a comic and they can see their favorite characters meet each other. And I think that's really cool for them because that wouldn't have happened when we were kids. Mm-hmm. So I think it's really good. I'm really, really, really happy for them that this is a crossover they're doing, because to me, it's worthwhile. It blends two great medias together for one generation, and I think that's awesome.
All right. Well, now that we got the AEW stuff out of the way, let's talk about some WWE stuff now, Mr. Bludd, because as we all know, our boy John Cena's career is coming to an end, sadly enough. And there's been a lot of talks, a lot of speculation going around as to who's going to be John Cena's final opponent on December 13th. And, you know, that hasn't really been announced yet. The one match that has been announced is versus AJ Styles at Crown Jewel, right? And someone in particular had some interesting comments to say about this.
Santy?
Who?
You talking about Santa's Zap on Chris Van Vliet?
No.
Because he just got asked that question on Chris Van Vliet this week.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, who cares? Anyway, I was actually talking about The Miz. You know, The Miz has a lot of history with John Cena, right?
He does.
And I'm actually I'm surprised that The Miz didn't actually get a match versus good old John Cena. But he had some interesting comments I want to get your take on that I'm going to read here really quick.
I heard him, yep.
Yeah. So just a quick, to give people an idea of what The Miz is talking about. I was happy for AJ Styles, but very angry that it's AJ Styles versus John Cena and not Cena versus The Miz. We want The Miz versus John Cena. I beat that guy at WrestleMania in the main event for the WWE Championship. One of the only people to ever do something like that, and I can't get a match with John Cena. He's got 5 dates left. I think it's 4 though, not 5. See, not even The Miz doesn't even know how many.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's not AJ Styles or CM Punk or anything like that. The WWE universe is asking for what they want. They're going to give it to him. I have a rich story with Cena. I do. I've been there from the beginning, and I don't have a match. So, yeah, I'm pretty upset. Like, that's my heart talking.
I'm going to go ahead and parrot what Big Papa K in the comments said. Shout out to Big Papa K. Miz was one of John's greatest foes, but was overshadowed by The Rock, unfortunately. That is so true. People don't realize that Cena and Miz feuded several times throughout their tenureship in WWE. And when Miz was the WWE champion, they basically used The Miz as a prop to get The Rock to host WrestleMania that year that they main evented, come out, interrupt their fucking main event, hit him with rock bottoms, restart the fucking match, and then it's like, and he made it all about himself. And it was the same thing when John Cena was then feuding with The Rock leading into that next year, where essentially The Rock winds up tagging with John Cena at Survivor Series, I believe, against Awesome Truth. And again, Awesome Truth were on a major heel run. They were doing great work, particularly R-Truth. And then here comes The Rock to overshadow them again. And they just couldn't catch a break. And then the next time we see The Miz feud with John Cena, it's involving Nikki Bella and John Cena versus Miz and Maurice in a mixed tag match, which was cringe as fuck for the build. But they had great promo skills on the mic, great promo exchanges. And just no matter where you look, every time there was a time where John and The Miz were at odds, somebody else was taking center stage. And in that second one, it was Nikki Bella's problem with Maurice. In the first one, it was The Rock's problem with Cena. And it's like, no matter what The Miz did, he was always second fiddle to someone else. It's the same shit that happened to Punk. Yeah. Every time the whole time Punk was WWE champion, he was always the fucking backdrop in someone else's story constantly. And I feel bad for The Miz because I don't care what anybody says. The Miz is one of the greatest of all time, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. He's one of the greatest Intercontinental champions. He's one of the greatest talkers of his generation on the mic. Always had great style. WWE ambassador. And I don't care what anybody says. He is honestly very fucking good in the ring. I don't care what anybody says about, oh, he's safe. No, what you mean is he doesn't do flippy doos and psychotic fucking crazy shit to break his neck. No, he wrestles intelligently. He wrestles smart. He never wastes any movement. He's a great wrestler. I don't care what anybody says. I am sad that I did not get to see Miz versus Cena because it's something I did want. One more time, while the Miz is still a heel, by the way, why couldn't we put Miz in Logan Paul's place or Miz in Brock Lesnar's place? We did not need another Brock versus Cena because we saw how they wasted it. 8 minutes and 50 seconds of bullshit. Mm-hmm. And we didn't need Logan versus John Cena, great as it was and as fun as it was to watch. I would have loved to have seen The Miz. And I understand his frustration of like, you mean he had a whole year of retirement tours and matches, and you're saying that I don't get to have one of those and say goodbye to someone who is a dear friend of his.
Yeah.
But someone he had a very important, I mean, the biggest moment in Miz's career was with John Cena. So I understand how he feels about that. The Miz is severely underrated, Big Papa K. I agree. I would have loved to have seen it. Do I want him to have Cena's last match? No. I'm still holding to my guns that I do think it needs to be LA Knight.
Yeah. No, this version of The Miz, because I've been, I was one of those fans who was never really big on The Miz from the beginning, you know, but up until pretty recently, The Miz has really gotten over with me. I really enjoy the stuff that he's doing with Carmelo Hayes and some of the stuff he was doing previously too. This version of The Miz, I actually really like. This version of The Miz, I would like to see face John Cena. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen.
I mean, I don't think it's going to happen either, unless there's a crazy crowd swelling of support for it, but there's only so many shows left.
Yeah.
I'd say my favorite version of The Miz is his late 2010s IC title reign, which when him and Maurice were like at the top of their game and he was like, he made that IC title mean something. Like that Miz, I would have loved to have had that Miz have one of John Cena's last matches because he was top form. He was shredding fools down to atoms with his promos, bro. The one where he goes off on Enzo Amore was brutal.
Yeah, that was crazy. Shout out to Darth Z says, the man has been in the business for over 2 decades and still going. That says something.
Yeah. The fact that he went from being a guy that got kicked out of WWE locker rooms and off of tour buses and was forced to change in the hallways and in bathrooms to he is literally one of the most reliable veterans in that locker room that is at this point in his career outlasted almost everybody that's there aside from, let's say, John Cena and Randy Orton and Cody. But even Cody left at one point. The Miz, John Cena, Randy Orton and Kofi Kingston, I think are the longest running on fucking roster wrestlers in the WWE without leaving and going anywhere else. All those guys deserve their flowers. But The Miz was a guy who was told he'd never make it. He could never pull it off. He would never be great. And look at him. Look at him. I mean, I don't understand how people aren't impressed with The Miz. I don't understand how people wouldn't want to see The Miz and John go at it one more time. Because I genuinely think they could have their best match ever.
Yeah, well, that's what the Miz. Maybe he's sending out fillers, or I don't know. Maybe we could still see that happen.
It could be a work. He could be working us
Yeah,
with that interview.
yeah, very
Maybe he is
likely.
John's last opponent. Who knows?
Very, very likely, man. Well, that's all the time that we had for today, Mr. Bludd. Yeah, be sure to hit us up on all of our socials. Our YouTube has been blowing up lately. Our Facebook has at like 41,000 followers or something crazy like that. Yeah, check out the podcast where today we were ranked 25 on top pro wrestling podcasts in the nations, beating a whole bunch of other really big podcasts. So we're pretty pumped about that.
Remember, that's number 25, folks, out of 250.
Yeah, the top two. It goes by. It gives you the top 250 podcasts in the nation. But think about how many fucking wrestling podcasts there is in the entire fucking world. Like,
Yeah.
let alone. So it's pretty
Yeah.
crazy to think about.
And to think that Santa Zap, respect to the man, he gets to get on with Chris Van Vliet. We've beaten Santa Zap on these ratings many, many times on a week-by-week basis. So, hey, Chris, maybe holla at your boys. Just saying.
Yeah, so we're getting some pretty positive attention. So that can only lead to more special appearances in the future. Who knows, man. But yeah, take us home, Bludd.
Thank you guys for joining us here on another episode of Snug Wrestling. This is our Thursday night 1 hours one-on-ones with myself, Mr. Bludd, and that handsome Mexican over there, Edgar, the head and founder of Snug Wrestling. We appreciate you guys for joining us here again tonight. Please catch us every Monday and Friday night live after the shows Raw and SmackDown go off there respectively, where we do post-show reviews of Raw and SmackDown. Then you guys can catch us on Wednesday, October 8th, by the way. Mark your calendars at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific for our predictions for WWE Crown Jewel, which is airing next week on Saturday the 11th in Perth, Australia at an ungodly hour here in the States. As far as concerned, guys, until next time, stay safe, stay savage, and stay snug.
Peace.